It's well known that around these parts we do some fun metal things. We also like to talk about steroids a lot. And today we have the best of both worlds. So if you've been paying attention to the news at all, especially surrounding As I Lay resigning, you'll be shocked to see what happened today. Believe me, this time around the shadows are not security for this band. So the big news today with the band was that Phil Sogroso has finally quit the band As I Lie Dying, which is actually huge news considering that Phil stuck with the band over the last 21 years, even with all of the problematic times they've been through together. Many of you who know about the band will know about this, but for those of you who don't, here's a little recap on the 6-year hiatus they took from like 2013 to 2018-19-ish. Their vocalist, Tim Lambesis, who started out as a very skinny man and eventually turned into a sauce fiend, as you can see in this picture here, had a pretty rough breakup with his ex-wife back in 2012, and in 2013, she was seeking to take custody of their kids that he adopted from Ethiopia. You know, stand-up guy for doing that. I don't think he is a total dickwad, but what he's done since definitely puts his character into question, if we're being honest. So at that point, he was pissed off at his wife, and it drove him to hit up his steroid plug to ask for a hitman to unalive her. Now, I get that you want your ex-wife to disappear from the picture and that you're not happy with her, but obviously hiring a hitman that winds up being an undercover agent named Red probably wasn't the most mature way to resolve your extramarital affairs, especially because you cheated on your ex-wife after you got pissed off at Christianity and just decided to bang every groupie you saw. But these actions landed Tim in jail for 6 years, right at the height of the band's popularity, which kind of sucks for all the fans and other members of the band, considering this was a metalcore band that was nominated for Grammys. They were a 3-time band of the year. They were touring right alongside Killswitch Engage, who's like the #1 metalcore band of all time. This is one of the top bands in the early 2000s, and they went from here to boop, disappeared, completely gone, never to be seen or heard from again, supposedly. What wound up happening is during the proceedings, Tim's defense blamed the majority of his actions and his anger on his steroid use. As we know, androgens don't cause you to lash out and become angry for no reason, otherwise every 40-year-old dad on TR2 would be beating the shit out of his kids. Does not happen. Clearly there was underlying issues, and unless he was railing a ton of TREN and Halo, I highly doubt that his flimsy defense that was shaped by fire to cover for his anger issues was really the cause. Now, Tim was known for having a god complex, and people in the band had said that he was kind of hard to work with before this anyway. He was starting to get a little more angsty and lashing out at people. So I don't think the steroids were what caused it. They might have compounded some of the issues he had, but when it all came around, Tim served his 6 years, and he finally did admit some responsibility once he got out. He contacted his band members again and really seemed to have some remorse for the situation, which we'll get back to in 1 second, but I need to point something out that is absolutely hilarious. Tim also tried to sue the prison system when he got out for $35 million for gyno surgery because he got gyno in jail because they wouldn't give him any AIs. No bullshit. Here it is. And his reasons for needing the money is even funnier. Let me actually read this quote. "The adverse effects, monetary losses, and my unsightly breasts have had upon my illustrious, tremendously marketable, and exceedingly profitable image of commanding physicality. Even my songwriting has been adversely affected as my guitar brushes against my sensitive breast, thus disrupting my very concentration, ceasing valuable production." Now, if that wasn't the most condescending bit of word salad I've ever heard, I don't know what is. This needs to be framed and put up somewhere, because that is a hell of a statement. Gotta give it to his lawyer. That was a good one. Hilarious if we know anything about AIs or gyno. So we can enjoy that in the steroid community. I like that one. But after the Gynogate lawsuit, that I don't think he ever got punitive awards on. They took it to civil court afterwards, which you never hear from. He had a little air out session with the band that they recorded together when they first got together, talked about things, and finally they decided to get back together. In 2019, they were gonna give him a second chance. It seemed like Tim really had like redeemed himself, and I watched a couple podcasts where he talked at lengths about his remorse and not good decision-making processes that he'd improved on, and like I gave him a second chance too. I was like, okay, I like the music. Don't have to love the person. You can separate the music from the shithead. If you're just listening to it, it's not a huge deal. That was all fine and dandy until 21 and 22. The entire band, besides Phil, ended up leaving again, stating that there was obvious misbehavior and mistreating of members going on. You could give it somewhat of a pass because things do happen. People are butting heads, but Phil stayed, and Phil was the one who originally did not want anything to do with Tim. So a lot of fans were like, okay, we're giving this one a slight pass, but next thing, we're kind of done with it. Enter today, the final member of the band has now left As I Lay Dying after their guitarist, their bassist, their drummer, and their tour manager have all left right as they finished their most recent album that hasn't been released yet. It's coming out in a couple weeks here. They announced a European tour, and they were doing festival dates for, I believe, Sonic Temple or Rockville. I'd have to double check. Those are now all canceled because there is only one band member left, and that would be Tim Lambesis, as you can see from the extensive list of former members. So I wonder who the guy is that's causing all these issues in this band. I mean, everybody wants to leave, but there just seems to be one problem. Now, it really makes us wonder, is it Tim just being abusive, or is he back on the Sazul? Is that what's making him more aggressive? I don't know. Nobody actually knows what happened besides the members themselves, but it seems like there's a hush-hush going around on what is actually going on. Somebody started a rumor saying that he'd been domestically abusing his new wife, his third wife, which is crazy. These guys can, try to murder their first wife and they get snapped up right away by two more within 3-4 years of it, which just blows my mind. But she denied that anything has happened like that. She vehemently denied it. Said absolutely not. That's a lie. I tend to believe the wife in that case. But something has definitely happened with the band members because all the new guys from Unearth that joined have now left, saying that they feel unsafe, unhealthy, and their personal morals have been tested to a breaking point. So Tim's been doing some fucked up shit. Nobody's really spoke on it, but it seems like he's kind of gone back down that rabbit hole he was in before prison. Especially if Phil, who stood by him during all the crap for the last 21 years, finally decided today to leave when he put out a statement. There's some shit going down. Now, I'll let you guys interpret exactly what's going on. There's no right or wrong answer at this point because I have limited information. I would not be surprised if Tim had been kind of insecure and hopped back on the sauce. He put up some Instagram pictures with his new wife, Danny, at the gym over the past few months, and he's looking like he's starting to round out a little bit again. His delts aren't quite as juicy as they were like 2012, 2013-ish, but I wouldn't be surprised. So let me know down below in the comments what you think Tim's on at this point. Are we talking just a standard test and EQ cycle, or do we think he's railing some TREN and Halo down? Getting a little more spicy again now that the album's ready to come out and he's got to play everything off his laptop for the backing vocals and instruments, kind of like Falling in Reverse. And if you like this video, go ahead and subscribe, and hopefully that'll kind of close down that ocean between us. There's your last gem for the video.